Hi all, and thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar. My name is Sandra Mall, Program Advisor here at Coaching Out of the Box, and I will be your host for the webinar today. What we would like for you to walk away with is more clarity around the coach credentialing process, to learn a little bit more about coaching out of the box, and to have your questions answered. So as Program Advisor, I speak with individuals every day with questions about our programs, as well as about coaching in general. I'm always happy to connect with each and every one of you. You'll see the link there on my screen. And just to let you know, at the end of this webinar, we'll be sending out some communication that includes the slides for the webinar today, as well as a link to the recording. And I would like to introduce you all to our wonderful CEO and founder, Allison Hendren.
Hi, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming to our webinar. This is a webinar that, to me, is or the topic, 7 questions and what's involved with credentialing, is so critical, but it also tells me something really important, and that is that having been in coaching for a while, that people are really recognizing the importance of holding an ICF credential, and we will be talking about that further. So way to go, all of you, because what I'm hearing is professionals coming on the webinar. And when I got into coaching, which was back a few years ago, about 20 years ago, I called it the Wild West days of coaching. And we never had we didn't have credentialing, we didn't have ethics, we didn't have standards, we didn't have competencies, we didn't have any of those things. And as a professional myself, having had been an executive in corporations, as well as having my own development business, my own development company, that was a big concern to me. And so I'm just really acknowledging all of you for being here. And I want to just share a little bit about myself. It usually becomes relatively apparent when I get into talking about coaching how passionate I am about it. And when I discovered that there was such a thing out there that I could do, I couldn't sleep. I was excited for days when I was reading up about coaching and researching coaching and so on. And it just was something that resonated so wonderfully with who I was and what I felt was so important. And that was to strengthen all of our, but certainly as a coach, our abilities to listen, to seek to understand, to support people in being seen, heard, and understood. So much of what can be accomplished can be accomplished so much better, easier, quicker, faster if we use coaching skills. Not all the time, of course, there's times when that's not appropriate, but what if, and that's why our vision here and our mission is everyone had these skills. And some will go at it far more rigorously with obtaining a credential. Others want to learn the basics and will insert that into their work as leaders and managers. And of course, now all of us, and I hope everyone is well who's on our webinar today, as are all of your families, given these unbelievable times that we're going through right now. And boy, is this ever a time when we need people to listen, to have coaching skills, to know how to ask potent, powerful questions, to really support people in figuring out what is next. There's so much going on. And so you've picked a great time to get into coaching, to find out about coaching. And I welcome you to this webinar. And I encourage you also to think about as the webinar unfolds is, what is it that you want to ensure we get to, or what is the takeaway that will have you say, I am so glad I came today to this webinar. Okay, and we're going to move along. So welcome. And so I'll let Sandra take over.
I will take it away.
Okay.
So first and foremost, we're actually going to launch a poll just to get to learn a little bit more about you, our attendees today. So I'm just going to go ahead and launch it. And for those watching the recording, this is a little bit of a tell us about yourself poll. It's just asking whether or not you want to become a full or a part-time coach with your own coaching practice, if you want to continue working in an organization but add coaching skills to be a more effective and valuable employee, if you want to have a second career in coaching after you retire, one that provides more freedom and flexibility, if you want to continue working in your profession but supplement this with a part-time coaching practice, or if you're looking just to develop some coaching skills to become a more effective leader and advance in leadership positions. So this just gives us a little bit more of an idea of who's joining us so we can cater the webinar to you. And while we are waiting for people to fill in the webinar, I just want to mention that our chat is open. We love to hear from you. So please go ahead and use the chat function. Any comments or questions that you have, we'd love to have your contributions to this as well. So I'm just going to give it about 4 more seconds here. And then we are going to end the poll. I'll share the results for those that are here. So yes, lots of you are wanting to become a full or part-time coach with your own coaching practice, and that is exciting. And another large one that we have coming up here is that you're looking for a second career in coaching after you retire, which is great as well. So that is fantastic. So today in this webinar, what we are going to touch on is why hold a credential? Which credential is going to be the best one for you at this time? We're also going to go through 7 questions that you should have answered when you were looking for a coach training program. We're going to, talk a little bit about how you're going to know whether you're successful. We'll have time for some Q&A as well. And so we're hoping that you enjoy the webinar, and we'll dig right in here. So I'm going to pass this back to Allison to talk about coaching. And I think we've lost her for a minute there. So I would like, oh, are you back?
I'm here. I'm
Sorry.
here. One of the things that I kind of can tend to easily forget is to turn my mic back on. So nothing has gone wrong. We don't have technical issues, just a technical issue with me. Anyway, so here's the definition, and I know you can all read. And I want, again, remember I was just a few moments ago acknowledging you for being here. We didn't even have a definition when I got into coaching. And I was involved in the ICF, as were many other people in those earlier days. And this is the definition that we came up with, and I think is so important for people to understand. As you can see, it's partnering. It's partnering. It's not, oh, well, I'm going to go and fix this person. It's partnering with them, with clients, customers, colleagues, and employees in a thought-provoking and creative process. It's very creative. All of you, my guess with many of you is you've got a lovely creative bent in yourself, because boy, if you want to be able to use it, coaching is for you, because you're constantly stimulated as you're working with someone to really think, what is the best way that I can support this person? So very creative. And what we're wanting to do is to maximize their personal and professional potential. We want to support people, and here's the thing, we want to support people in moving farther, faster, easier, quicker than they would have without a coach. That's critical. And I noticed that a number of you mentioned about you want to create your own businesses. It's very, very exciting to do that. And what was the other one? I made a note here, and of course now I can't find it, but these were really good comments. Oh, and a second career. That it was my second career, or maybe my third or fourth actually by the time I got into it. But yes, and here's the thing about that is you get to leverage every single solitary good thing that's ever happened to you, that you've ever learned, but even more importantly, all the things that you maybe didn't go well and you had to figure out, you can leverage this so much, and your clients will benefit so much from the fact that you have had some moments that you've had in all of your life, not just professionally, but also personally, because you're dealing with the whole human being when you are supporting them, when they come to work with you. And I think that what is also so great about coming in at this time is that it's proven. It's a proven tool, and no longer am I receiving calls from organizations or individuals who are looking for a coach, etc., saying, well, what is this? No, they get it. They know it's valuable for any high performers, anybody who wants to do well in their life, anybody who wants to make a transition in their life. Nothing, I mean, it's just so fantastic if they can work with a coach or there's issues and challenges. So it's a proven tool. And in fact, in our own organization, Coaching Out of the Box, we have proven it with individuals and organizations by work we've done with them, and it's been analyzed and assessed, and we have findings. We have key findings that we presented to Harvard Medical School, McLean Hospital, and Institute of Coaching a little while back on what happens when someone experiences coaching. And I just want to quickly share it with you. Improved listening, improved communication, improved ability to give feedback, improved conflict resolution, positively impacted relationships, that's huge, improvement in team dynamics and team communication, and increased ability to engage in conversations that are solutions focused and promote accountability. So this is all about, and this is proven, these are key qualitative findings that were proven and presented to Harvard Medical School, etc., as I mentioned. This is all about supporting people in moving forward and taking action ultimately. Okay, and I've gone on a bit there, but I think it's so important to recognize what you're getting into. All right, so Sandra, carry on.
Why? Sure, definitely. So we're going to talk about why you should hold a credential, and there's three main reasons for this: credibility, differentiation, legitimacy. The ICF is the leading global organization dedicated to advancing the coaching profession. So holding an ICF credential right there gives you credibility, differentiation, and legitimacy. Because coaching is still a relatively unregulated industry, more and more and more of our consumers are becoming savvy in what it actually means to be a coach. And they are looking for you to be holding that credential to show that you have put in, the rigorous work to really learn about the coaching profession, to learn about the core competencies of coaching, to learn about the code of ethics of coaching, and to set yourself, above the rest in the sense that this is why I can call myself a coach. So holding a credential is important for that. And there was a global consumer awareness study done for the ICF by PricewaterhouseCoopers that showed that 83% of consumers stated that it was important that their coach hold a certification or a credential. So we know there are different credentialing bodies out there, but the ICF is the world's largest organization of professionally trained coaches. They confer instant credibility among its members, and is also has committed to connecting member coaches with the tools and resources that are needed to succeed in their coaching careers. So currently the ICF is the largest association of coaches. It's in over 90 countries, has over 34,000 members, and over 29,000 coaches. There are more than 140 chapters the ICF has around the world, so it really is a great global representation of coaching. Again, credential can help serve to distinguish you from somebody else that says that they are a coach, however, has not gone through the training. So if you are looking to become a coach, definitely look into becoming an ICF credentialed coach. So we're going to pass this back over to Allison to talk about questions to ask yourself about what a credential can do for you.
Yes, and I'm also noticing a few questions in the chat area, and I'm making notes here. So bear with me. Patricia, I'll get that information, the case study that shows the results, etc. And Kashka, great question, and we'll touch on that. I won't forget it, and if I can't get to it fully, you can always connect with me directly as well. I'm happy to answer that for you. And I'm going to go through these questions, and as soon as we can, we will get to it. Just to be sure, one way or another, we'll get to it. What is it you want? What is your vision? What is the vision for your career, your business? What is it? What is it you want? How is it you are going to know that this was a great choice for yourself? What is it you're wanting to do? What will a credential do for me? And this is a important one. You know, for some of you, it may be that nobody even asked you that question. In fact, that's not necessarily what some, especially if you've got a long-term established relationships with people that you've worked with in the past, colleagues, etc. But what it can do is it can add to your credibility. People will say, oh, okay, they've got a credential, because they are getting, as Sandra mentioned, it's becoming more well known that what makes you call yourself a coach? What did you do? And I'm seeing certainly in RFPs that come out, they're literally specifying that now. And we are also getting people who contact us who've been coaching for a number of years, and now they are saying, I can't get that gig with that organization because they want me to have an ICF credential. And so it is important, maybe not with some, but it will be important for you. And here's the other piece. It was important when I was going through it, even though we didn't have it to this point. I felt in my own mind that having taking training and learning how to coach in a way was it helped me. So it grew my confidence, knowing that I had gone through some rigor to make it happen. What time and resources? What kind of time have you got? What resources do you have to invest? There's, as you may or may not know, there are loads of various programs out there. I think we're outstanding, and I think we offer incredible high quality education in a cost-effective way, and there are others. So what is it that you can budget for yourself, and what kind of time are you able to put in to developing yourself as a coach will be very, very important. Also, what is the best choice for you right now at this point? What will work well for you? So for example, and I'm just sharing my own story, when I got into coaching, I had a full-time job and a family, and I was the sole breadwinner. So for me, I needed to find something that I could fit in to my life. I couldn't stop my work. I couldn't, not have time for my children. So I chose something that I could do over time, not years and years of time, although since then, of course, I've done lots of additional things and grown myself. But at that time, I really looked at what could I do. And for me, at that time, it was very, and I also had a limited budget, so I couldn't afford to fly somewhere and hotels and all of that. Of course, right now, not a lot of that is going on anyway, but so I did something that was cost effective as well and allowed me to grow it. It was basically what I would call incremental learning, because I would take classes each week and build on those as I grew. So what is going to be the best choice for you right now? What kind of time can you commit to this? And what is your budget as well? And what are you wanting, as I mentioned before, what is it you want to walk away with? So that will be really, really important. And I also, I want to just notice the chat area for a second. I can't chat, I can't talk and read the chat at the same time, but I want to notice, oh, I see Sandra's answering some of the questions. Great. Okay, that is what I was concerned to know. Okay, great. All right. So then, if Sandra, if you can move to the next slide. So which one? Which one? And how recognized is it? And you, as I said before, holding a credential will make it easy so that people will not even question it. The ones that maybe don't know you or know how fantastic you are, and that's another thing I've learned, is people that get into coaching are so, they're just, I'm biased, of course, but they're professional. They are well educated. They have loads of experience. And so a lot of that is going to go a long way for many of you. And that's what you will be leveraging. But having that credential, as I mentioned before, it'll just nudge it up another notch. I think it will be really important. The other thing that I think is important is you want to, if it's here's what it is. Coaching is an emerging profession. And I am very, very committed to having that be the case. And I recognized back when I got into it, because at that time we didn't have ethics and standards and competencies, which now we do, I thought, oh, how's this going to be for me? Because there was people of all types that were going into coaching, and some with minimal education, etc. So it was really important that I supported a growing profession, an emerging profession. And so you can get involved in this. You can get with people who are also doing the same and have colleagues and share your experiences and your learning. And the International Coaching Federation is now in 100 plus countries all over the world, and has various surveys that they get with PricewaterhouseCoopers, because they are committed to this being a profession with ethics and standards. Well, we have ethics and standards and competencies, and are constantly looking at that. So what I found as well, because many of us will be working from our home offices, as many of us are now, and I recognized that I wanted to have colleagues that I could connect up with as well. So becoming involved in the ICF for me was fabulous. I would go to the conferences, I met other people, and I remember the first conference I went to in Houston, Texas, and I walked in there, and there was only 250 people at that one. And it was like I'd found my tribe. Everybody smelled right. So that's another reason, is to be committed to supporting the growth of a profession, and connecting with like-minded colleagues, I think can be very, very helpful as well. Personally, I think it's critical, actually. So now, and again, I'm just looking here, see, Sandra, you're on it with the chat, and now I'll let Sandra take over, and I will monitor the chat.
Sounds great. And Diane, we're going to get to that right here on this next slide. Diane asked the question that I heard that there are 2 certifications, ACC and PCC. What is the difference, and what do you offer? So we're actually going to jump in to the different levels of credential by the ICF, and there are actually 3 different levels of credential. The first one, the entry-level credential, is the ACC, or Associate Certified Coach Credential. The next one up is the PCC, or Professional Certified Coach Credential, and then the final credential is the MCC, or Master Certified Coach Credential. And you can think of these credentials as building blocks upon each other. So the programs that we offer here at Coaching Out of the Box and where we recommend that you start is the ACC, the Associate Certified Coach Credential. So what you would need to become or apply for your ACC credential through the ICF is you would need 60 hours of formal coach training, 10 hours of mentor coaching, 100 hours of coaching experience, which we'll chat about a little bit, and you'd also be submitting a performance evaluation to the ICF. Once they review all that, they send you a link to write what's called a coach knowledge assessment. And upon passing that, you are then an ACC. But any of the education and your coaching experience hours that you take to achieve your ACC, those can still be put towards the next level of credentialing, your PCC. So you can build upon those to go and then in the future apply for your PCC. And the reason that we say to start with the ACC is because that has like the least amount of requirements in a sense to get there. So you can call yourself a credentialed coach quicker. It's easier then to build up the hours that you need for your coaching experience from that ACC level to a PCC level when you can actually call yourself an ICF credentialed coach. So going to the PCC level, you would need 125 hours of formal coach training, 10 hours of mentor coaching again, 500 hours of coaching experience. So there's quite the difference between that 100 hours and 500 hours of coaching experience. So us here at Coaching Out of the Box and many other coach training programs, we provide you with coach training hours. So that would be for an ACC, those 60 hours that you would need. Some programs, Coaching Out of the Box is one of them, do provide you with the 10 hours of mentor coaching. And then that 100 hours of coaching experience is something that's on you to do on your own. Any of the coaching that's done inside class time, the ICF will not recognize that as coaching experience. So that is you going out and using your network, using your friends or whoever you can in a sense to practice coaching. And the ICF requires for those 100 hours of coaching experience that 75 of those hours be paid hours, 25 can be pro bono. One of the great questions I get speaking to people on a regular basis in regards to these, the criteria of that 100 hours of coaching experience is they're like, whoa, but I'm just learning how to coach. How can I get these paid coaching hours? Well, the ICF is quite flexible in the sense of what paid coaching means. So it could be bartering for services. So one of the great things about our program in that sense is that you are going through the program with a cohort of people that have the same end result in mind. So teaming up with people that you're taking your coach training with and doing peer-to-peer coaching outside of class time, that's bartering for services. That would be a paid coaching hour. They don't have a minimum monetary value that's attached to a paid coaching hour. It could be as simple as somebody buying you a cup of coffee in trade for a coaching session with you. It could be, if you are one of the lucky ones, that coaching is part of your everyday work life. That can be counted as a paid coaching hour as long as you are not coaching a direct report, because that's considered part of your employment in that sense and would not be counted for the ICF that way. So I'm just going to check right now if we have any specific questions about this here, just to see here. So Shelley has the question, that's a great one here. I understood that the requirements had changed since COVID. Is that correct? 70 hours of paid coaching and 30 hours of pro bono coaching? Yes, that is correct, as long as you are applying for your credential by December 31st, 2020. So that's kind of the nuance around there. It kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility in that sense that 30 can be pro bono. But for the intent of this webinar, assuming that this wouldn't happen for people applying for the credential by December 31st, 2020, we're reverting back to the 75-25 rule, just to make sure that everybody has the information that they're looking for. And Kashka has asked a great question about how are those paid coaching hours proven or documented? So I can make sure to send out a sample. The ICF has a sample coaching log template that they provide for you just to kind of see the information that they're looking for. And when you apply for your credential, you're actually not providing them with a coaching log of your coaching experience hours. You are attesting to those hours. Due to privacy regulations and whatnot, they're not wanting you to submit that coaching log to them. However, the ICF does have 7 years to come back and audit your coaching log. So it's important to keep one, and it's important to keep building that coaching log. And if the ICF does ask for it, they're going to want to verify some of that information. They're going to want to make sure that the coachee has given you consent to be part of their coaching log, and they're also going to want to verify whether or not those hours were truly paid hours. And I'm just going to see if any other questions are coming up here that I can answer quickly with this slide. And is it the responsibility of a coach who is seeking accreditation to locate and pay the mentor coaching at each level of the accreditation process? This is a great question. So it kind of depends where you are and what program you're taking. So for us here at Coaching Out of the Box, part of our Fast Track program is we provide you, inclusive with the price of the program, those 10 hours of mentor coaching. We provide you with 7 group mentor coaching hours and 3 one-on-one mentor coaching hours. If you are then going and renewing your credential and require more mentor coaching, that would be essentially you reaching out and paying for mentor coaching, whether it be through the ICF mentor coaching database or connecting with a coach that you know that is a higher credential level than you, that's gone through a renewal. There's a little bit of nuances about that too. But essentially that mentor coaching is important as a coach for your future growth as well. So you'll be required to continue that mentor coaching path at the different levels of credential as well as during your renewals as well. So I hope that helps. And if there is no more questions about this one, we will go ahead and switch the slides. So we're going to talk about 7 questions that you need answered when choosing a coach training provider. So this is important. It's important for you to do your research when choosing, a coaching school to be investing your time and your resources into. So the first question we have up here is, what are the credentials of the coach facilitators who are delivering the program? Don't be afraid to ask this question. Be sure you're connecting, face-to-face would be fantastic, over Zoom or at least by phone with the coach training school that you are considering. So you can actually ask these powerful questions. You want to make sure that these coach facilitators really are coaches. You want to make sure that they are experienced in facilitating as well. Us here at Coaching Out of the Box, all of our coach facilitators are experienced coaches, and they all have their own successful coaching practices as well. They've been thoroughly vetted, obviously, with their skills as a facilitator. So that's something just to keep in mind to make sure that you're going to have that experience that you're looking for. You also want to ask whether or not the program schedule is convenient for you. Does it offer flexibility? Our programs are all virtual programs, which is great. They're delivered on Zoom. So if you can get on this webinar here, you're already set up essentially for the programs. I'm just going to switch over to my notes here just to make sure I'm touching on everything here. Can you do the program from home, from your laptop, in the convenience of your own home? In the time of COVID, this is a wonderful thing to be able to do. You don't have to be physically present at a brick and mortar facility, which is awesome. And what happens if you can't make a session? What's going to happen with that? How are you penalized for that? You want to be checking to see, what's going to happen in that adult education environment if life does get in the way one week and you can't make class. So you want to ask if they record their sessions and what that process would look like for you making up that class. Does the program have a good reputation? Be sure to do your research on this. Do they have lots of testimonials? What's said on them or about them online? You can check their social profiles out. You can ask to speak to a recent graduate from the program. And this is one that I love because it's not just then you talking to the coach training provider about their experiences as a coach training provider. You actually get to talk to somebody that's gone through the program and have their personal experience about it. So don't be afraid to ask that question either. Other thing about a good reputation is making sure that the coach facilitators that are on the team that will be providing this training to you, make sure that they're all ICF credentialed and that they are in good standing with the ICF as well. We're going to go to, does the program provide the training necessary for you to apply for an ICF credential? So this is something that I hear a lot, too often, in my opinion, is that I connect with individuals who have taken coach training programs. They have invested their time and resources into very expensive programs, and they've come out of it ready to apply to the ICF just to realize that that coach training program is not recognized by the ICF. It doesn't follow the ICF's definition of coaching. It doesn't talk about the ICF core competencies of coaching. And so then they're like, oh, what do I do now? I've taken all of this education, and now I can't utilize it to actually reach my goal. So you want to make sure that the training that you are investing in is recognized by the ICF. Okay, that's a very, very important one for that, because it breaks my heart, all of these conversations that I've had around it. And, it's just, I don't think it's right, to be honest with you, at the end of the day. You also want to make sure that the program that you're taking has enough coach training hours attached to it for you to actually apply for your credential as well. I hear a lot about, oh, we've taken this great program, but then we realize that only 30 hours can be applied towards my ICF credential. Minimum is 60 hours to go for your entry-level credential. So you want to just double check that information as well, and whether or not mentor coaching is included. Mentor coaching can be expensive, so it's a great option to choose a program that the mentor coaching hours is also included in your education for that as well. Number 5, do they offer ongoing ways to fine-tune your coaching skills? So how committed is the organization that you'll be investing in to furthering your coach education? Do they offer free resources on their website that you can use to refine your coaching skills? Things like free webinars. Do they offer, one of the great ways to refine your coaching skills and to, really grow as a coach is actually through observation as well. So here at Coaching Out of the Box, we love our live coaching demonstrations. And so we do some free webinars on that multiple times a year, where you can actually see coaches coaching in real time with feedback on that coaching as well. And so it's a great way to learn and to fine tune your own skills. So that's something that's important, to make sure that you're investing in a company that is invested also in your growth as a coach. So are there any costs beyond the program price and the separate ICF credential application fees required to obtain your ICF credential? So again, is mentor coaching included at no additional charge? Are there enough coaching hours included in the program as well? So this one kind of ties in to one of the other ones that we had chatted about a little bit, but make sure there's no hidden costs. You really want to be sure that all the materials that are included in your program are part of that. That there's nothing that's going to surprise you at the end of the day, because you are investing, time and resources into taking a program. You want to be sure that you're actually getting what you think you're getting and paying for what you think you're paying for. And if your goal is to start your own coaching practice, what support is offered to help you launch and maintain a successful coaching practice? So now you're an ICF credential coach and you're like, this is great. I want to start my own coaching practice. I want it to be successful. What does that organization offer you, again, to further your skills, but not just as a coach, as a business owner? So you want to make sure that there are, resources for you for that, continuing education surrounding, building your own coaching practice. Again, here at Coaching Out of the Box, we have free guides about making it as a coach and starting your own coaching practice. We also have a course that you can take about building a successful coaching practice, which touches a lot on the marketing, fine-tuning who your target market is, starting your website, just building things up like that. So it's an important question to also ask is, what further development on the business side of things is important, or can this organization offer? Because that will be important to you if your end goal is to start your own coaching practice. So I'm just going to check the chat here to see if there is anything further on here in the chat. And I think Allison is pretty good at taking care of it. One question that we've had asked is, does the cohort stay together throughout the entire process? For our Fast Track to ICF Credential program, yes, the cohort, for the most part, is together throughout the whole entire process, which gives you a great opportunity to build a community, to increase your network of coaches. We've had some of our cohort members become lifelong friends, have ventured together in business. So it's a really neat kind of unique situation that you are really getting to know these individuals that are part of the cohort with you, which is, I think, something that is pretty special. And because the classes are so interactive and we focus on smaller class sizes, you really get that one-on-one with the other participants in the class as well. So it's a really unique experience that way.
Now I'm just going to jump in for a second, Sandra,
Sure.
because Sandra has literally just completed our fast track program, just completed. So what were you telling me? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but on the last class, what happened, or what people were saying on the last class?
Oh my goodness, I finished beginning of June, so I'm fresh off the fast track to ICF credential program. And I hate to say it, it took me 4.5 years to actually get my butt in gear to take it, but I'm so happy that I did. The last class, I was surprised at the emotion I felt. There were tears. There was genuine, conversations about we've created a family. And, just wanting to be lifelong friends. We've had, because participants are from all over the world, there was, offers to stay at people's homes all over the world. It was actually amazing. It warmed my heart. And I am sort of biased because I am part of Coaching Out of the Box, but from a participant standpoint, it was so much more than I expected, that community. And it was just kind of, it's just such a unique experience. And yes, Allison, thank you for bugging me and putting me on the spot. But yeah, I'm happy I did it. So I'm happy to obviously talk to anybody else about my experiences as well. Or if you want somebody that's a little less unbiased, I can set you up with another grad, and you can hear their experiences as well. And I appreciate all the congratulations. Thank you so much, guys. I'm so excited for what's coming next in my coaching journey. So we'll go ahead and move on now to the next slide. And I can't remember if this one is me or Allison that's supposed to be touching on this one. That's me.
Okay, go.
You're welcome to. I've been doing a lot.
Yes, you have. You need to get a drink of water. And the thing is, here, the thing is, yes, get some water, or if you need it. Anyway, start my video.
Yeah, your video's off.
Oh, of course.
I sent you
see, I just always need help. Anyway, just so why us? And I mean, what we are hoping here as this webinar is unfolding is that you're getting to a bit more of a sense of who we are. That's so important, is who are you dealing with? What's the organization? Who's behind this? And I mean, I founded it, and I now have a fabulous team. And I founded it because in the background, I had become very involved in the ICF. I chaired one of their conferences. I got to know coaches all over the world. I became a coaching educator, which was totally unexpected on my part. I never had that in my plan. With University of Texas at Dallas, a university in Canada, a very pioneering organization from years and years ago called Coach U. And out of all of that, I wanted to create high quality live distance learning experiences that were also as cost effective as possible, because I know myself, when I got into coaching, some of these programs can be extremely expensive. Don't mean that they're not fantastic. I'm not saying that, but I really recognize that they can be both. And what is so cool is they can be high quality and not out of the, overly costly. So I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but I just wanted to say that. And very important is why us is we're ACSTH approved. So that is ongoing rigor. We are constantly having to, the ICF is checking on us, not just us, but others. And we have these, they're called incremental surveys. They're always checking to make sure that we are upholding and doing what we said we would do. And we are sticking with the standards and the requirements of the ICF. We're live distance learning, and we have lots of experience in that arena because we embraced this, or certainly I did, over 15 years ago. And my gosh, it's so much better than it was back then. But we've had lots and lots of experience leveraging technology in our coaching education. Our programs are proven. We have proven results, as I mentioned earlier, and Sandra will be sharing that. And these are not these are not the results that we say, well, yes, we did all this. This one particular place that we worked with, after 18 months of them bringing our flagship 555 coaching skills training program, which is part of our fast track, they hired an external consulting organization. They also had focus groups, pre and post, questionnaires, all kinds of things that they did that I knew nothing about. In other words, Coaching Out of the Box was not involved in their assessment of our work. And we came out with, as you will see, flying colors. And the organization employed 150,000 people. So it was a very, very large organization, and they could see that people were really benefiting and that they could see that. But they knew in order to continue on, they needed to have more evidence than, oh, it's just great. And so I think that just speaks for itself. Plus, we now have loads of happy graduates who speak. In fact, most of a lot of our new people come because someone has told them about us. That's very important. And you're part of a community. And I know the people in the classes. And I wanted to I know, Sandra, you already spoke to our coach facilitators, right? I might have zoned out there for a second.
I did not.
Okay. Well, I want to just say that because that is huge. Who are bringing these programs to you? And having been a coaching educator and having led a team at one particular university, I'm telling you, this is really a big deal. And so what I've done, every single person who is on our team has been practically everyone, has been hand-picked. And two that are on the team were highly recommended to us. And then, of course, they have to go through our process to see if they qualify. And we continuously are developing we call them coach facilitators. And we get rave reviews about them. And that's really important to me because nothing worse than taking classes where you're and I did in the early days, because that was how it was. I would literally sit on the class and some of it was just, so boring. And we don't want that. We want interactive, we want knowledgeable coaching educators who are credentialed by the ICF, etc. So I just think that that is really, really important. For some reason, it looked like my video was not going, but it was. So good. So I'm just trying to think what else about that. What about that question? And then I'm also looking across to the chat area as the one. Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't think there's anything new in there at this point.
Okay, good. And please, what are we missing? And I see a comment. I opened up the Q&A, and there's a comment or a question in there. Is in your 555 program, will you be covering team coaching? That is certainly mentioned, and the model that you will learn can be used with individuals and it can be used in groups. And we don't specifically go into a lot of in-depth training on team coaching during the fast track. And Sandra, is there anything you wanted to add to that? Because I know you've just probably seen that question as well.
Yeah, we hear a lot about team coaching, and I can definitely have a chat with you to figure out more specifically. I think that was Fran, what you're looking for in the sense of what your definition of team coaching is.
Yes, that's right.
That's kind of there's nuances around it in that sense. But yeah, no, the 555 model works really well in a team environment. I've never actually partaken in team coaching, so I cannot give you any personal perspective on it. but Allison
Right.
has.
Definitely, and it's been used in a team environment, etc. And as I'm saying that, of course, Fran, reach out to Sandra to clarify some of that. And, you know, we want to make sure that's answered for you. We're focusing on the competencies. We're focusing on, in this program, in our fast track, on having you walk away with good coaching skills. Yes, you will grow as a coach. Yes, more experience will develop you, but we want to give you that solid foundation. And what some and many of you, some of you are from organizations, some of you have had your own business, you're from education, all kinds of different sectors. And it will be, what I have learned is it's still, when you're working with a group or an individual, is what is it that they want to accomplish? What is it you want to walk away with today as a result of our time together, whether it's in a group environment or an individual, that will have you be moving forward and taking action? And so those skills that you're going to use or you're going to learn are going to be very, very useful in the team environment as well. Hopefully that's helping answer that a bit more. I see another question. Do we teach how to start and market your own coaching business? All right, that's a great question. We do have another program that does that, because what we find is, in that period of time, we talk about it, right? Sandra, what did you, I mean, you just finished it. What did you notice about that aspect?
There's informal conversations that certainly happen about it. How I typically answer this question is that we get participants with all, from all different backgrounds, in the sense that we get lots of participants that are looking to build their own coaching practice. However, part of the program as well is we have lots of participants that are looking to become credentialed to still work within their organization. So lumping in the starting your own coaching practice within the fast track kind of excludes some of the individuals that we have taking it. So in the fast track, we are, growing you as a coach, and you're getting solid on the core coaching skills and how to show up as a coach, and really focusing on those coaching, on being a coach. So aside from that, like outside of that, we offer the Building a Successful Coaching Practice program that focuses strictly for those who are looking to start their own coaching practice, with the marketing and, finding your target market, and even starting your website and all that sort of stuff as well.
And as well, I know in some of the communications that we send out as the program unfolds, I speak to that a little bit in some of those communications that we send out, tips, because when I got started, I had to build a successful coaching. I mean, that's what I did, and that's an aspect. And so there's pieces to that, and in fact, we have a guide that you can download called Making It as a Coach, and it's on our website, right, Sandra? I know it's there somewhere. Yeah, and that could give you some tips about it as well.
I was just posting in
that.
we also
provide yes, right.
Sample documents that they can use as a starting point, like a sample coaching agreement, that you could either use the template that we provide for you, or you can, take what you like out of it and change it up how it's going to work best for your practice. So we do provide that sort of stuff too as well.
And, I just want to go back to a question that I think we had earlier, which was the difference between coaching, counseling, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. Consulting, was that addressed? I just want to check in. I might have missed that.
I addressed it very on the definition, not in detail.
Okay. There's lots of conversation that can be had about that, because when you come to coaching, you will be bringing what you have, your background and so on. So for example, when I came to coaching, I had a background in real estate development and had, built buildings and things like that, and residential as well as commercial buildings and so on. So guess what? The first few people that hired me were from that field. So of course they were hiring me because they saw that I had that background. But the trick is in coaching is that yes, I have that background, and yes, I can step out of the coaching mode at times, and did. But I'm using the coach approach to support them in figuring out, and yes, my level of understanding of that was helpful at times, but not always. It wasn't always. So coaching is about me, or the coach, bringing it out of that other person and supporting them and partnering with them to come up with their own unique way that they're going to move forward and take action, and holding them accountable. And yes, in coaching, you can actually make some, you can ask them to come up with, what are you going to do specifically in this next week? Now, the other piece, some counselors, we have therapists and counselors that come to coaching a lot. You will also have that. That's where you will step out of it, because that's, generally speaking, will be dealing with things that haven't been resolved from the past, etc. I'm being very general at this point, because there's always nuances to that. So they will, of course, be leveraging what their background is. But again, coaching is about that forward movement. What can we do to support a person moving forward and taking action and holding them accountable? And by the way, you will leverage all that you bring to us. I hope I've kind of answered that a little bit more than in the earlier question. I hope that. But please reach out to me if you want to chat further about that. I'm happy to talk to you already, or again. Okay, and I see with only 3 hours of mentor coaching how do you get the extra? No. In our program, we provide a total of 10 hours of mentor coaching. 7 are group and 3 are one-on-one. So you will have that when you submit for your ACC. Oh, no, that's okay, Eric. There's a lot to this. And I appreciate all these questions. They're fantastic. Okay. Go ahead, Sandra.
Well, I was going to move along, but there's a great question here. Michaela, I don't know if you want to answer Michaela's question now, or if I can connect with you later about that as well, about the 555 model. Yeah. Given the time that we only have.
I'm aware. Yes, I'm aware of the time. Yeah. Great.
Michaela, I'll send you, we can kind of touch base on that. So I just want to move forward here and just let you know, wherever you see yourself on your coaching journey, whether you're just looking to kind of dabble in it a little bit, see what really is coaching, to learn, a great framework for coaching, we can help with that. If you want to become a credential coach, we can help with that as well. If you are already a credential coach and you're looking for CCEs to put towards your renewal, we have some great programs that can help you out with that. And if you are wanting to be a coaching educator, just like our wonderful Allison and our coach facilitator team, we do actually have a program where you can become licensed to deliver our flagship 555 coaching skills training program as a tool that you can bring into your own organization or in your own coaching practice as well. And what is next? I'm not going to read them all out for you. On the screen, you'll see some of our courses that are starting over the next couple weeks. The big one is Fast Track to ICF Credential, starting on July 7th. There still is time to register if that is something that interests you. We also have another one starting in September. I'm here to chat with you, to answer any questions that you have in regards to our programs or coaching in general, the ICF credentialing process. Regardless of whether or not you choose to take a program through us, I'm here. I'm happy to help, love to chat, know the process like the back of my hand. So we're here for you. And we also support organizations on more corporate-based, bringing in the 555 and other programs to develop coaching capacity within organizations. So if that's something that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out to us as well.
And my question to you is, what are you walking away with as a result of the time you spent on today's webinar? Anybody want to jump in with a comment? What are you walking away with? Well, I know what I'm walking away with is that I love your questions, and I can hear a lot of thinking and a lot of considering, and more clarity. Catherine, thank you. Yeah, a little more clarity of the process. Great. And yes, and I appreciate Eric. It's, you know, there's pieces to that process. It takes a bit to get onto it. And Chantel, thank you. And again, I can see where we've got about 1 minute to go, and I just want to pose this question that is always on my mind: is what if everyone had coaching skills? Not everyone becoming a credential, that is fantastic, but what if everybody, when you learn our model and so on, you'll see what I'm talking about. What if everybody we should have this in the schools. We should have this as part of anybody's education, is how to have these kinds of conversations. And we would be delighted to speak with you further, answer any of your questions. I know some of you are already joining us, and we can't wait to have you begin our program. And I just want to wish you the very, very best. It was one of the single most potent, powerful, best decisions I ever made, was to get into coaching. Thank you so much for coming. And Sandra, if there's anything you wanted to add.
Just to have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, or morning, depending on where you are in the world. We've enjoyed having you here. Thank you for coming.
Right. Bye-bye.